Here we go. Okay, guys. So welcome to this fun, funky Vinyasa flow. Just remember to have a good time. I'm going to be introducing lots of different advanced positions, but feel free just to let go of all the rules today in this class. We're going to have a little bit of fun. Yeah. So all the rules, all the strict technique, all that stuff, that's for all my other classes. But here, let's just enjoy and open up and move the body. So I'll be guiding you guys through all these different poses. It's a really long flow on the one side before we change sides. And then feel free to stick with whatever modifications works for you. Feel free to create some of your own inspired by what I'm saying, or join me to go in even deeper and deeper and deeper into all the poses. Yeah? Okay, let's get started. So come to a nice, comfortable sitting position on your mats. We're going to find some length in our spine and neck. Our gaze, the drishti, is coming down in front of us, and we're closing our eyes. Just taking a little moment here to collect ourselves and prepare for today's practice. So as you sit here, you can notice your feelings, your thoughts, your energy, and just trying to observe. And if you'd like to set an intention, a focus, then you can do that now. Just thinking a little bit about why you came to this class, maybe what you hope to get out of it, and maybe how you'd like to feel at the end of this class. When you feel ready to continue, you can start to activate your bandhas, these internal locks. So the root lock, the abdominal lock, the throat lock, finding this more length along your spine and neck, relaxing the face, closing the mouth, breathing in and out through our nose. Begin connecting with this active ujjayi, this victorious breath, making sounds of the waves on the back of our throats. When you're ready to start moving, you can place your hands behind you, fingertips pointing towards the back, spreading our legs gently out to the side. You can be a little bit passive here in this pose and just kind of relax and enjoy, or work a little bit more actively. So pressing the feet down, flexing the feet, bringing the toes towards you, rotating the inside of the thighs upwards as we send our hearts up towards the ceiling. So pulling the shoulder blades down into the spine and together, rotating the biceps outwards and dropping the head behind us. If that feels okay for your neck. Last breath here. And coming up, walking the hands to the hips. So feel free to push yourselves a little bit further forward here. Keep that same activity in the legs and the rotation. Maybe bring the hands in front of us to come a little bit further forward. So here we can use our hands to press down and pull ourselves forward. Pull the shoulder blades down again, biceps up, using the bandhas to find this length and activity as we're folding over. And of course, if you want to start exploring the pose, leaning side to side, maybe flexing and point the feet, then go ahead and do that. So really paying attention to your body today in this class and noticing what it needs, what feels good, what you'd like to explore, maybe even discovering something new. All right, coming back up, we're finding a little side stretch here. So the hand out from the hip or maybe further behind us, other arm is coming up. So the whole seat is glued to the floor as we're stretching over here. Same thing, feel free to explore, maybe doing some twists or curving over the leg. Trying to keep that activity and rotation in the legs. Very nice. One final breath. And we'll be coming up on the exhale and then changing sides. Two more breaths. And coming back up here, collecting the legs. So just shaking out gently before laying down on our backs. So grab your legs around your knees, maybe your thighs, rocking gently from side to side, massaging the back on your mat. Gently here, opening up to happy baby. So grabbing the back of the thighs, the legs, the feet, maybe the toes. Same thing here. Try to keep some length along your spine with your bandhas. And then just exploring, maybe straightening one in one leg, rocking gently from side to side. So trying to find a bit more openness here in our hips. All right, bringing the soles of the feet to the floor, the knees are pointing up, sending the arms out over our head, a little activity here, pressing them down to engage the shoulders as we send our hips up towards the ceiling. Now, same thing here, feel free to explore, maybe twisting the spine, dropping one in one hip, or lowering both hips, pressing them further and further up, finding more and more engagement in the whole body here, especially the back body, pulling the heels towards your glutes. Deep breaths. On the next exhale, rolling down through the spine, each vertebrae at a time, really activating particularly our Uddiyana Bandha, expanding the area across the whole abdominals, pulling the lower ribs in. Gently here, dropping one and one knee to the side for a little spinal twist, keeping that activity in your core. Maybe bring the arms out from your shoulders. On the next inhale, the knees are coming up. And on the exhale, gently one and one knee down to the opposite side. So you're going to find a little flow here, yeah? Focus on engaging the core and finding a twist, some movement along your spine. So inhale, knees are coming up. Exhale, dropping down to the other side. One final round here. So when you're finished, bringing the knees back up, grabbing a hold, give yourself a nice little hug. Maybe lift the head and the shoulders as well to get this full curve through our spine and our neck. Rolling along the spine, and think 2-3 breaths here to come up to sitting, and then finding the easiest way to all fours. Starting to warm up our hands and wrists. So placing the hands under your shoulders, your peace fingers, index finger, middle finger pointing straight forwards. Press down, rotate the biceps, gently leaning forwards here, just as far as what's okay for your wrist, and side to side, maybe some small circles as well. All right, rotating the fingers out to the side of the mat, or if it's available, continue rotating the fingers towards your knees, maybe even as far as the index finger and middle finger towards your knees. From here, I'd like you to think of having a little micro bend in your elbows, so not overstretching and putting too much and locking those joints, yeah? But rather finding the straight arms or a slight bend. Sending the weight further back, maybe lifting the heel of the hand, gently moving from side to side. Okay, shaking out the hands. So we have one more here, a little strengthening exercise for the hands and wrists, just to go a little bit further. So come back on all fours. Leaning forward, you can imagine pulling your hands towards your knees. So engaging the arms, the shoulders, your core, find that long spine. And then I want you to think of lifting the heel of your hand. So what's directly beneath your wrist, yeah? It's probably just gonna be some small movements, but think of that pulling movement and that lifting, pushing up. So this is the sort of engagement that we're gonna be looking for in a lot of our arm balances, yeah? Is to really be finding that pressing down into the hand, the pulling forwards. Okay, very nice. We'll do one more. Lifting the heels of the hands, coming down and shaking out. So this one, the more weight you have on the hands, the harder it is. For future reference, if you were to have the hands a little bit closer, then it can be a little bit easier, yeah? So not as much weight. All right, coming forwards, a little bit of cat-cow. On the inhale, opening the heart and chest. And on the exhale, opening the back body. So feel free here just to continue in your own tempo, following your breath and exploring the pose, maybe opening the side body. You could even be doing some barrel rolls all the way around, maybe changing sides, one from side to side, exploring the weight on the hands, the knees. So much we can be doing here. So really connecting with our core, waking up our spine. Maybe lifting the knees here, finding a little bit more strength in the pose. All right, yogis, continuing to downward facing dog. So a little bit longer pose, spending a few breaths, just exploring, dancing with the hips, sending them from side to side, rolling through the spine, the shoulders, the neck, whatever feels nice for you here today. Very nice, yogis. So we're going to continue with animal walks. So from here, we're shifting the weight from hand to hand as we're slightly taking some small steps back towards the feet. Try to keep your middle finger and index finger and your biceps pointing forwards. Very nice. When you come back to the back of your mats, it'll be Uttanasana, standing forward fold, taking a few deep breaths here, exploring, just doing what feels nice. And when you're ready, walking the hands forwards again, thinking these slow movements going through the whole arm, the shoulder, the spine, the hips, like a cat or a lion or tiger, how they walk. When you're coming forwards, finding your full downward facing dog, searching, exploring, bandhas, pressing, lengthening everything that you have. And when you're ready, we're going to start walking the feet forward. So shifting the weight from foot to foot, rolling through the sole, spreading the toes. Trying to drop the one hip as much as you can as you take a step with the opposite foot. Try to keep the arms straight, the biceps forwards, pressing the shoulders to the ears here as well. When we come forward, shifting the weight to the feet, Uttanasana one more time. This time maybe fold the arms if that feels nice. Continue walking the legs, twisting side to side, just exploring. I'm just going to turn here a little bit so you can see the next pose a little bit more clearly. On your next exhale, drop the hands down. I want you to take a slightly wider step with your feet, so maybe about hip width or slightly wider than your hips. Beginning from your glutes, from your hips deep inside there, rotating the toes and the knees out to the side. So go up on your heels and then rotating out. Pressing the feet down. Keep this external rotation so the knees pointing the same direction as the toes as we're straightening. What's available to us today? Imagine pulling your heels towards each other. And then from here now, don't just use gravity, but think of pulling your tailbone down towards the floor as you send the top of your head up towards the ceiling. So working down into yogi squat, but not just resting on our joints, but rather engaging all the muscles. And then now from here on the exhale, pressing down and sending the hips back up again. We have 2 more. So on the exhale, pulling yourself actively down, sending the top of the head up, the bandhas are engaged, and pressing up again. One final time. Exhale, pulling down. Very nice, and coming up. Relaxing the legs, bringing them back here, parallel. 2 breaths. All right, the left leg is taking 1 or 2 steps back. So we have the right leg in front of us, dropping the back knee to the floor, taking 2 breaths here to stretch and open up the front of the thigh and the hip. So just exploring the pose, doing what feels nice. Now you can stay here and stretch, or if you'd like to really activate all the muscles, work a little bit more active, then join me here in this little Anjaneyasana flow up. So shifting the weight to the legs, coming up, hands can be on the hips in front of our heart or standing up over the head. Engaging the core, so pulling in, engaging the glutes to press the seat forwards, press the feet down and also pull them towards each other. From here now, gently lifting the back knee, slowly, slowly, slowly. We're gonna straighten both our knees as much as we can, rising further and further up. Keep lengthening through the fingers, shoulders to the ears, palms facing towards each other. And when we come up, we keep lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. And then same as in the yogi squat, imagine pulling yourself actively down. So don't just use gravity, but actively pull yourself down, 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 until the knee touches, and then relax. Very nice, hands to the floor. Maybe if you have some blocks, you wanna have them underneath you here. Straightening the front leg to our half split. Ardha Hanumanasana. Maybe rotating the knee and the foot out a little bit. Opening the hamstring. Very nice. So this next one, we're gonna do the same thing that we just did, but we're gonna try to keep our hands on the floor. So again, if you have some blocks, maybe have them underneath your hands here, or you're holding onto a sofa or a table or something. Pressing the legs down, length through the back. Pull your legs towards each other and gently lift that back knee, and then start straightening more and more. Keep lengthening out through the top of your head, stopping when it feels enough, really increasing that stretch in the front leg, and then exhale, pulling yourself down. Slowly, 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 and deliberately, touching that back knee, and then relax. Very nice. The front foot coming to the mat, pulling yourselves forwards, preparing for a little modified warrior 3. So gazing further forwards, maybe lifting that back knee, and then coming into a little balance on the standing leg. So you can have the whole hand down, maybe just your fingers, 2 or maybe just 1 finger. Straightening out the knees, that back leg is parallel to the floor. And Yalandara Bandha, remember that long neck. On your next exhale, dropping the foot down next to the other. Bending both knees for our chair pose, Utkatasana. Remember, hips are underneath us, coming up with the back, so don't send your butt out, yeah? Bring it underneath you. In with the stomach, hands where you would like to have them. Focusing now, press down into your heels to activate the hamstrings, really activating your glutes, holding your core to come all the way up on the inhale, standing. Maybe continuing here, activating that back body and opening up into a little heart open or a little back bend. So think sending the fingertips behind us, finding a nice long curve through the whole spine. And on the exhale, pulling the front body in again and down to our chair pose. Exhaling to folding over and walking out here, 2 breaths. All right, very nice, yogis. Changing legs. The right leg is coming back, dropping that back knee. 2, 3 breaths here, opening the hip. Okay, staying here and stretch, or getting ready to work a little bit more actively. coming up. Remember, stomach, activate it. Press the glutes, push down into the feet, the knee, pull them towards each other. Hands wherever you want, and get ready. Gently lift that back knee, and then slowly coming up. Remember, pushing down particularly in your big toes, feeling that connection along the inside of the legs, up to your root lock, your stomach lock, the throat, out to the top of your head, and then exhale, pulling yourself down again. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Touch that knee and relax. Straightening the front, half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. Stay here, opening, rotating, preparing for the next one. All right, hands down, maybe on some blocks. Press the legs, pull towards each other. Start lifting that back knee. Gently stretching, stretching, stretching in all directions. And then pulling your knee back down again. Keep pulling the legs towards each other. When the knee touches, relax. Bring that front foot to the mat, gazing forwards, preparing for our warrior three. Pulling forwards, lifting up. Finding that activation, that length in the hamstrings, the glutes, your spine. Dropping the foot down, bending the hips, chair pose. One more time. So we're going to do 2 rounds now, the same. You can do the exact same that we just did with the weight on both your legs, or shifting the weight into your right, lifting up the left heel, maybe going up on the toes, thinking a little bit deeper to make it even more difficult. Press into the heel, the hamstring, the glutes, pressing up to standing, sending the arms up and back, finding a little heart opener, pulling the front body together, coming back down into a supported one-legged chair, switching feet, bring the heel down, lift up the other, maybe come up on the toes, pressing into the heel yoga. Activate your thigh, press, 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 back body, glutes, back, pulling the shoulders, shoulder blades down, fingertips back, back, back. Coming back down, one-legged chair, deep pose without sending that hip out to the side. Coming, folding over, and relax. Walking out the legs. Okay. Yogi's choice here. Just stepping back to downward facing dog or joining for a full vinyasa. So on the inhale, find the length, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Now as we continue on to this flow, feel free to activate as much or as little as you want. And remember to stick with the modifications that work for you, yeah? So if you're ready, lifting the right leg up to a 3-legged dog. Remember letting go of the rules here, so feel free, press the heart down. Continuing into our scorpions, opening the hips, bending the knee, maybe even letting that knee and the foot fall behind us. Exhale to tiger curl, pulling yourselves forwards. Inhale, back again, knees coming up, scorpion. Exhale, knee to opposite elbow. Inhale, back again, scorpion. Exhale, knee to the same elbow, and hold here. Dropping the foot down, dropping the back knee, finding a little lizard pose stretch. Resting the body, 3 breaths. It's heavy, yeah? Especially now when it's so warm outside. I can feel the temperature in here with the lights. Whew, it's so hot. Okay, walking in the front leg, finding a little Anjaneyasana flow. So shifting the weight into the legs, same as we did in the warm-up. Pressing down here, maybe lifting that back knee if you're ready for it. On the inhale, hands are coming up as we stretch up to the ceiling. Exhale, pull ourselves down, elbows out to the side. One more time, inhale, coming up. Exhale, pulling down, elbows out, stay here. Bringing the hands behind us, grabbing the forearms, the elbows are interlacing the fingers for a little heart opener. So straightening out those arms, bring the shoulder blades together, rotate the biceps, and then press the hands away as we open our heart and gaze up towards the ceiling. On the exhale, think of the top of your head is coming down to the floor for peaceful warrior. Or sorry, humble warrior. drop the hands to the floor, straightening that front leg and finding a little pyramid flow. So we're opening up hamstring, maybe flexing the front leg to include the calf muscles, playing with the hips. Now, if you'd like to, yogis, maybe we can start working our way underneath the leg here. So bending the front knee, so we can bring the shoulders down. Think the top of your head setting towards the mat. Maybe even shifting the weight to the legs. And continuing deeper and deeper. Very nice, Ela. One more breath. Beautiful. And releasing the pose. Hands coming down beside our foot, the front foot. We're gonna come to sitting, first through straight legs. So try to shift the weight into the front leg, swiping the back leg through, and then negative pistol squats, only using your fingertips as much as you need to come to a comfortable sitting position. Nice. Crossing this front leg here over. Now, you can do several variations. So you can just be here, have it fairly open, and working the leg up towards you. So we're working on opening the seat in the hips, or maybe one-legged cow. So bring the knees more towards each other, having this heel in, finding some length here, maybe folding over and grabbing. Now remember, exploring, opening, enjoying the pose. Maybe doing some twists, some deep breaths, finding some length. 2 more here. Final breath. Okay, opening up. So a little bit deeper for the hip, we're going to be working with shooting archer. So grabbing the front foot. Now remember, if you have a strap, you might want to use a strap here if it's a bit hard to grab your foot. So pulling here, opening up the hips. So see, my knee is far out to the side, opening up into the big joint here, trying to keep the arms on the inside. Just exploring, opening up, doing what sort of feels nice here. See if we can get this knee further and further back behind us, yeah? Maybe you want to start working underneath that leg, so coming forwards with the body. Feel free to curve your spine. Maybe we're helping out with that one hand, the same hand as the foot. So now I'm underneath that leg, yeah? And I'm using my shoulders to help pull backwards, coming deeper and deeper under. And for those of you that want to, think of the front of your thigh here now to start activating to stretch that knee and maybe opening more and more up into our compass pose. So in here, just changing sides so you guys can see slightly different. So I'm pulling back, stretching, 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 trying to straighten that spine using the bandhas, maybe finding a little twist and a side bend as well. Yes, very nice. One more breath. Start to release the pose, coming down here. Now, for those of you that want, release the foot. Keep hugging the foot into your shoulder. Hands beside the hips, leaning forwards, right? As we often do in so many of these arm balances. And see if we can lift up the hips. Maybe we can lift up that front leg as well. And exhale, coming down. Relaxing here, one breath. And then we're gonna try to do one more. So again, when you're ready, keep hugging in, using that core, lifting up, maybe the front leg. And if it's available, maybe we can bind the feet and coming back again. Yes, beautiful. So eventually, right, we're gonna be sending the legs through the arms there and then out to a flying split. But from here, we'll come back the same way that we did before. So bring the front or the right leg down, leaning forwards, use the fingers if you need to, coming up into this pistol squat, sending the left leg back behind us into a lunge. Beautiful. Taking 2-3 breaths here. So drop that back leg, resting where we can, opening and exploring, collecting our energy. All right, so we have this little warrior 2 to a crescent lunge with a twist flow. So bring the leg in front of you, lifting that back knee. So from here, I want you to twist towards that knee that's in front of you. Shifting the weight into the legs, so we're freeing this hand, and it's gonna come around, helping us up to warrior two, pulling down. We're gonna let these fingertips keep leading us backwards into peaceful warrior. So the hands are coming down, maybe the front arm is coming up. And then from here, yogis, we're gonna move back again. So rotating, just forget the front arm if it's too much. Maybe just the back arm is coming up through a lunge, dropping the hands down, twisting towards that knee, trying not to place the hand on the floor. Maybe bring the other arm up. So 2 more times, rotating around like a helicopter, really working those hips back into peaceful warrior, and then back again. Lunge with a twist. Final round, coming back, twisting, 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 peaceful warrior. Coming back up with the torso, straightening that front leg, preparing for half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. Feel free to look forwards and bring your hands to the hips, pulling yourself into a little balance here with open hips, straightening out the knees, maybe straightening out both the arms. Yes, wonderful. When you're ready, transitioning into warrior three. So maybe bring the hands to the hips, dropping that back hip, straightening, finding the length in every direction. Woo. Continuing into our standing split, so dropping the head down. Use the bandhas, pulling here, hip flexor is on, while we're lifting that back leg higher and higher up. Maybe pumping 2 or 3 times, really engaging the glutes. Nice, dropping the back leg silently into a lunge, taking a little rest here. Okay. So for those of you that want, we're gonna come back up again one more time in that exact same pose. So either work with your standing split, your warrior three, your standing split, or maybe you wanna do a few kick-ups to your handstand, right? So you'd be here, warrior three, standing split, or bring the hands a little bit further in front of you. And don't worry about maxing out, don't worry about finding a handstand, just think about placement, working in, having a little bit of fun, kicking up that back leg a few times, finding that balance, and then maybe we can spend a few moments in a little handstand. Yes, 3 more breaths here. Lovely. Final breath. Coming back down into our lunge, landing silently. The right leg is still forwards, opening up, finding a deep lizard pose. Feel free to come down on your forearms here, really resting, opening, relaxing, breathing. 2 more. Okay, yogis, so we're gonna move into bird of paradise, yeah? I'll show the easy version first, okay? Don't panic, just work where you are. So it's a balanced pose. Now we can do it very, very advanced, or just do this more easier version, which would be simply bringing that back leg forwards, shifting the weight into that back leg. From here, lifting up that front leg, come to standing, and then the knee isn't in front of us, but we're gonna try to come up with it open to the side. So really working the hips, that mobility, opening up the inside of the thigh, and then standing here, find the balance, maybe straightening out that leg, yeah? And then after you've been here for a few breaths, coming back down again into that lunge. The more advanced version, since we're here, keep that back knee down, working your way underneath the leg. So we're gonna bind the hands behind the back, grabbing the fingers of the wrist, then lifting the back leg, gazing far forwards, pressing into that front foot to shift the weight to come forwards, 1 or 2 or several steps. Then shift the weight, keep hugging that knee into the shoulder as we were doing, coming to standing. And then from here, maybe straightening out that front leg and then coming down after we've been for a few breaths. Yeah? So give it a little go. Don't stress it, just enjoy. Think like 5, 6 breaths, yeah? Yes, Olga. Yeah. Find the balance, find the balance. Keep hugging, use your core. Heel to the glutes. Yes. Oi, oi, oi. Nice. Well done. That was very nice. So remember, when you come up, you're hugging, you're holding, and then it's the front of the thigh that's working out, straightening out that knee, yeah? Uh-huh. Yes, okay, coming back down, yogis. So when we find this lunge, feel free to do a little lift up. We're gonna do a full vinyasa to standing, but to get from here to our chaturanga, right? So if we were doing the bind, then we're gonna stay here. The arms, you see where my hands are, right? My hands are almost under my hips. So they're not forwards here under my shoulders. They're back here. My elbows are bent, they're underneath me. I'm resting on my arms as I lift up that front leg and then the back leg, maybe flying splits, and then trying to gently come into my chaturanga. Uh-huh. Beautiful. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale, gaze forwards. Exhale, bending, coming forwards, landing silently. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding over. Inhale, all the way up to standing. Exhale, arms down. So activating, pressing into the feet, feeling the bandhas, the length, the top of the head, hands to the hips. Now, right leg is coming out. Activating the glutes to rotate the knee and ball and toes to the side. Keep this activation as we bring the leg to the lowest part of the thigh, so just above your knee, and then still using your glutes here to actively pull that knee back. So feel free to stay here if this is enough for you. Or if you're ready, coming down into our one-legged chair, deep pose without sending the hip out to the side. Hands in front of our hearts, maybe continuing into our flying pigeon. So the leg to the overarms, overarmena. Hands down, and remember yogis, not down below and try to lift up, but the hands in front of you, because the arm balances are more about just leaning the weight into the hands versus trying to lift yourself up. So it's more just shift the weight into your hands. And if that's too much, if it's too difficult, then just bring that one leg down and then finding our normal crane or crow, or just doing a modified version of that, which is then one leg at a time, or just leaning the weight into the hands and working those wrists and shoulders. Okay, wonderful. When you're ready from here, hopping back to your low plank, chaturanga, landing silently. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful, yogis. We're almost finished this one side. So the right leg is coming up, three-legged dog, opening to scorpion, opening the heart, feel free. Explore, tiger curl, knee to chest. And finding our fallen triangle. So 3 different levels here with this leg. We can place it on the outside here, the same line as the foot, or maybe medium, out from the hip, or if we're really open, we can place the foot on the same line as our hands. Coming into a side plank, yeah, so leaning the weight in, rotating the shoulders, other arm coming up, resting in, using the glutes, the back body, opening up, maybe bring this hand further down, getting that little side stretching as well, and exhale, coming to sitting. So a little prep there for our wild thing. I'll just shift a little bit. So we should be quite open with the legs, yeah? Feel free to close them a little bit. Now your wild thing, we can have parallel legs or the same arm as the leg is straight. Yeah, I'll adjust again so you can see. Remember this arm here, that we don't close it, but we rotate it around so that when we come up, that we have it underneath us for good support. Keep rotating, maybe even the fingers, pressing into the back body, opening up more and more. And then think, trying to get those fingertips down to the floor. Enjoying the pose, 2 more breaths. And gently come to sitting. Beautiful, yogis, almost finished here. So the right arm is still down, crossing the right leg underneath the left, so that we can swing around. finding a little balance here, either dolphin pose, different variations of the arms, or downward facing dog if this is too heavy. So we can have bound hands, Baddhasta, or Mukta Hasta, open hands, maybe even parallel arms. That'll be the most challenging for the shoulders. And then just lifting up the knees into this little dolphin pose. Keep rotating the biceps forwards. Staying here, this is the last pose on this side. Taking a few breaths. If you feel like working a little bit more harder here, then we can lift up the right leg into a three-legged dolphin. Exhale, placing it down. Left leg is coming up, inhale. Exhale down. Walking the feet towards the head. So we have more weight into the arms. Keep lifting that head. Exhale, walking back. Dropping the knees and rest. Beautiful, yogis. Okay. So the good news is we're halfway there. All right, so breathe, right? We'll take like a minute now, 5 very slow breaths. So just try to relax everything. Breathing calmly. Drink some water if you need to, small sips. Yeah, don't drink too much at once. So just let your heart calm down a little bit. Let your pulse just... So any questions? No. So now here, while we're here on this break, maybe taking a moment and reminding yourself of your intention. Two more breaths. Try to release everything other than this moment. So your thoughts, your judgments, relationships, everything else that's happening, let's just be right here, right now on the mat in this practice for the next 20 minutes. I can recommend focus on your breathing, let your breath be your guide. When you're ready, downward facing. Feel free to walk it out. Start connecting with the body again. Finding that movement, that engagement. All right, yogis, left leg. Inhale, coming up, three-legged dog, scorpion. Remember, open, just have fun here. Exhale, tiger curl, coming forward. Inhale, back again. Exhale, knee to opposite elbow. And back again. This time, knee to the same shoulder. Holding here for a moment, activating everything. Placing the foot down beside the hand, dropping the back knee, and rest. 3 breaths. Two. And 3. Walking that front leg on the exhale underneath us, preparing for this little Anjaneyasana flow. You can keep the back knee down if you're getting tired, or lifting it up. Shifting the weight, the hands are coming up. On the inhale, find that length in all directions. On the exhale, pulling down, send the elbows out. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, pulling, activating. Hands behind, interlacing the fingers the opposite way this time. Stretching. Shoulder blades together. Rotate the biceps. Leading with the hands away as we open our heart and chest. Working that back body, deeper and deeper pose. And then on the exhale, think the top of your head is coming down to the floor for a humble warrior. And then when we reach the pose, releasing the hands, straightening up, finding this little pyramid flow, opening the hips, maybe flexing that front leg. And here, this could also be used as a little prep for the poses that are coming. Yeah, we're really working the hips a lot in this class. So maybe you want to start working down past the legs. So I'm opening up underneath, bending that front, and then see if I can bring the body underneath that leg. Maybe be doing a little bind and start straightening that front leg more and more. Beautiful, Ela. Yes, wonderful. Using the arms, hugging the leg, pulling the head down, 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 down. Okay, releasing the pose, hands beside the front foot. And we're gonna come to that negative pistol squat. So gaze forwards, finding the transition to sitting, swiping the front leg, only using your fingers as much as you need to. Sitting down, then opening the foot here for that little stretch. We'll bring the knee on top of the heel and folding over. And then take a little break here, yeah. 3 or 4 breaths maybe, doing a little twist, just enjoying. All right, we're gonna be releasing the pose, finding this little shooting archer. So really opening up the hip, right? This is kind of like the lizard pose that we've been working with, yeah? Just a little bit of a different angle. So pulling back, opening up that hip, bringing that knee as far back as we can. Preparing for our, maybe the compass pose, yeah? When you feel ready, grabbing with the opposite hand, start working underneath. We can of course lean forwards if we need to, bringing it there. And then using the bandhas, finding more and more length. Use the shoulders to keep pulling back. And then when you're ready, start straightening, being very careful with the hamstring here. So stretching more and more and more. That arm, the same arm as the shoulder. Think of rotating the biceps forwards and the shoulder blade down. Deep breath. One more. And releasing the pose, doing a little lift up here, so hands about where the hips are, leaning into the hands. Use the bandhas, lift up your butt, maybe that front leg, gently lowering down. Resting, yep, 2 breaths, and then maybe come up again, lifting, maybe we can cross those feet. Very nice, and back down to sitting. So the front leg is down again. We're gonna lean in, lift up that the pistol squat, bring the back or the front leg behind us for our lunge. Dropping the knee, 2 breaths, rest. So remember here now, we're gonna do that little warrior 2 flow with the arms to peaceful warrior and then back down again into the crescent lunge with a twist. So lifting the back knee, the right arm this time, swinging around, coming up into our warrior. So fancy footwork here, yogis, and it keeps leading us back. Maybe the opposite hand is in the hip or we're using it up above. Using your core here now to pull yourself back up again, holding it. Fancy footwork as that back arm is swinging forwards, touching the floor, but not resting. Opening the heart, pull the stomach away from the thigh, and back again. 2 more. Peaceful warrior, and back. Breathing in, and back. Opening up, straightening that front leg, preparing for your half moon pose. Maybe bring the hands into your side, easing forwards, pull yourself forwards, open up. Straightening out those arms. Finding the balance. When you've got it, bring the hands to the hips, transitioning into warrior 3, maybe the full version if you want to. And then when you find it, continuing down into your standing split, lifting that back leg, maybe pumping 2-3 times. Try to straighten out those knees. So remember, this is a pose in itself, but we're also preparing for potentially doing some handstands here. So dropping that back leg into the lunge, drop the back knee, and rest. 2-3 breaths. So you know what's coming now when you're ready? Working on your warrior 3 or your standing split, or maybe try to do just a few kick-ups here and maybe finding some time in our little handstand. Yeah? Take your time, 4 more breaths. Beautiful. Keep rotating the biceps forwards, pressing the shoulders to the ears. Using that core. Okay, final breath, yogis. Whoa, beautiful. Nice and slow, relax. Coming back down into the lunge, dropping that knee. Resting here into a deep lizard pose. Feel free to come down on the forearms, really opening up that hip. So you can drop the knee out to the side if you want to, but the more that we hug that front knee, the more that we're hugging this knee into the body, then the more it's going to be opening up that hip, yeah? Two more. Okay, yogis, so we're going to prepare for our bird of paradise here, yeah? So remember, the easy version, stepping back, or I shouldn't say the easy version, but the middle's, the in-between version. Step forward, shift the legs, come up, yeah, with the leg, and then open up and stretch. Or find that bind, and then stepping forwards, shifting the weight, and coming up from there, yeah? Take your time. Find that bind with the hands, hug, pull together, use your core. Think of what weight, what foot you have to shift the weight into. And you know how to activate the bandhas. Press down into the toes, the heel. Nearly, Olga. Yeah. Yes, superb. Yeah. Okay, now you're all standing, so I can't see anything other than your legs and your knees. But I trust you're up there, straightening out that knee if you want to. Coming down, very nice. Finding that lunge. Maybe doing the little lift, yeah? So, right, because if we were doing the bind, then we come back down here, and we just place the hands on the floor, so we can do a little lift up, maybe your little flying splits, and then gently coming back to our chaturanga for full vinyasa. And then come to standing. Or if you're getting tired, maybe just skip the vinyasa and come to standing. Yes, yes, yes. Keep breathing, deep breaths. Yeah, just come to standing. So jump forwards, halfway lift, all the way up. Excellent. Okay. Little mountain pose here, a little breath. Hands to the hips, pressing down, bandhas activation, changing legs to the left leg is out. Rotating, keep the rotation, press against the lower thigh, pull the knee back, stay here, working on your balance and strengthening, opening up the mobility of the hip, or coming down. And then maybe continuing the overarms. Here, remember, not the weight straight down, but lean the hands forward. So we're leaning into the hands to lift up that back leg and then hold, or come to the regular crow or a modified arm balance. Gaze drishti far in front of us. 2 more breaths. Prepare a little bit now. See if you can find the transition from here to your low plank immediately. So shoot the back legs, yes. And vinyasa, upward facing, downward facing. Walking it out here, 2-3 breaths. Collecting your energy. All right, yogis, we only have 3 more poses, and then we're done. Woohoo! 3 more poses, that's it. Okay, so the left leg is coming up 3-legged, maybe scorpion, and then tiger curl. Preparing for a fallen triangle. So foot out, same line as the back foot, or out from the hip, or same as your hand. Opening up, think side plank, stabilizing those shoulders, get the hips up, maybe a little back bend as well. And then exhale, coming down to sitting, preparing for your wild thing. So maybe closing those legs a little bit. You can have both of them bent, or the same arm as the leg is straight. And when you're ready, take your time. We have 3 to 5 breaths here, so really enjoy coming up, opening more and more and more, finding that length. Back bend, back bend, back bend. 3 more breaths. Keep rotating the heart, the standing biceps, rotate, rotate, rotate. Get the shoulder under you. Beautiful, yogis, coming back down. Very nice. Okay. The left leg underneath the right, crossing to come around. Now you can choose downward facing dog or a version of dolphin. So bound or open hands, lifting up. So do the same as we did before, maybe a little 3-legged dolphin and tiger curl if you want to, or maybe doing a few kick-ups towards our pincha, if that's something that you would like to work on. So just a freestanding forearm balance here. Changing legs if you haven't. All right, and when you're finished, then come down to your child's pose. Yes, beautiful, yogis. Okay, that's absolutely wonderful. Deep breaths. Resting, relaxing. Three more breaths. Final breath. Making our way up to our downward facing dog. So this is the cool down. Feel free to start relaxing a little bit more in the poses. One of your legs, the one that's furthest away from the camera, stepping forwards so that we rotate the toes and the top of the head towards our camera. There you go. So we don't have our butts facing the cameras, yeah. So Prasarita Partanasana, yogi's choice here. Just opening up, 3 breaths. Doing what feels nice, what your body needs. Final breath. Okay, rotating the toes back again, finding our pyramid pose. Keep the hips parallel, lengthen the spine, the side bodies are the same length, maybe flexing that front foot. 3 breaths. Slow them down, 2. And 3. All right, lengthening the pose, dropping the back leg. Runner's lunge, maybe drop the back knee. Feel free to open up and do a twist here. If you can keep the hips low, then grab that back leg for a deeper stretch down the full front of your thigh. Activating the stomach, pressing the seat down, the hips down towards the floor. Keep pulling that leg in, using the hamstring here as well. Final breath. All right, releasing. Opening up into Hanumanasana, full split for 5 breaths. So nothing, just working with yourself and the flexibility that you have. So not going further than what's available to you today, yeah? Trying to work with parallel hips, so the back knee is pointing down and the front knee is pointing straight up. Releasing deeper and deeper. And remember, if you're leaning more forwards, then you're working more on the hamstring. And if we come up, then it's a little bit more even, yeah? We're probably getting a little bit more the front of the hip and the thigh, especially if we're engaging Uddiyana Bandha as well. Final breath. Releasing the pose, coming back the same way that we came in. So finding our lunge, our pyramid, and then wide-legged forward fold. Taking a breath here, noticing the distance, the difference between the legs, between the sides. Okay, and then changing sides, so just rotating the toes towards the opposite way. Maybe flexing that front foot, pyramid pose, 3 breaths. 1, 2, and 3. Finding our lunge, maybe dropping that knee, maybe including the twist and grabbing the leg if that's available. But remember, as I'm always talking about, try to avoid coming up here, yeah, and having the weight straight down in the knee. That's not so good for the knees. Rather, be laying on the lower part of your thigh. So we're laying on the muscles here to find that stretch, not on the top of our knee. One more breath. And finding our split, Hanumanasana, gently sliding out. Relaxing the face, your gaze, relaxing what you don't need, focusing on the deep breath. Three. 4. And 5. Releasing, coming back the same way as we came down. Lunge, pyramid, wide-legged forward fold. Take your time here, being nice and kind to your hips. And when you're ready, the easiest way down to laying on our backs. Give yourself a great big hug, maybe lifting the head and the shoulders, gently rocking side to side. The feet to the floor, the knees are pointing up, arms out from the shoulders, dropping the knees down to one side, maybe collecting them, using the stomach, find the length in your spine to go even deeper. Or if you have a different favorite twist, then feel free to do that. 3 breaths, 2. And 3. Changing sides. And releasing the pose here, finding a little variation of butterfly just to open up the inside of the thighs, soles of the feet together, dropping the knees, maybe using the hands as a little weight, or just opening up here. Beginning to release the bandhas, the ujjayi, relaxing where we can. More breath. And when you're ready here, yogis, just straightening out the legs to your shavasana, your corpse pose. Taking 3 minutes here to rest. Releasing all the weight of the body down into the mat. Getting more and more relaxed with each exhale. Releasing the body, the breath, our thoughts, our feelings. And just allowing ourselves to observe in the silence. Okay, yogis. You can start to move the body. Taking a few deep breaths, maybe some gentle stretching. When you're ready, rolling over onto one side. Making our way up to a comfortable sitting position. Relaxing the face, having a soft gaze or closing our eyes. And then taking a moment here for ourselves, just noticing how we feel compared to where we were at the beginning of the class. bringing your hands together in front of our hearts. Thank you very much for today. Namaste. All right, guys. Thank you very much for today. If you have any questions, feel free to stick around.